Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome everyone to All Things Retreat Podcast. I've got a guest with me today that we're going to learn some more about different things than we normally do. I love that we bring different varieties on here for you to learn. Julieta Duvall is a soulful, rebel, and grounded guide for individuals and families dismantling systems that no longer serve them. Through radical storytelling, intuitive tools, and her podcast, The Unschooling Lifestyle, she empowers people to live with rhythm, trust, and unapologetic truth. A dedicated mom, entrepreneur, and seasoned flight attendant of nearly 20 years, Julieta embodies a free-spirited, nomadic style, often living out of a suitcase while inspiring others to embrace authenticity and transformative change. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. How does that work with, I know we were talking before and you had mentioned you have a couple daughters, right?
2 boys, actually. Yes, 2
Boys.
boys.
Okay, I
Yes,
guess I
yes,
didn't
yes.
ask you what sex they were.
No, it's okay. They're 2 boys. They're 12 and 6.
How does that work traveling with kids?
Oh, it's amazing. It's lower. It's lower than people's rhythms, but I love them because they notice things that I don't normally do. So, and I have gotten, I have had the trips where I had higher expectations than what the trip was. So that was a learning lesson. So I feel like every trip we do is a learning lesson. So it's a slower rhythm. That's the way I can describe it. But I actually like that. I enjoy
Yeah,
that. So yeah.
it's great. I know so many people are talking about living the nomad style. I told my husband 11 months we're out of here, and he's like, "Where are we going?" I don't know, but I'll figure it out. I just figured I'll be on the road a lot anyway. If you want to come join me. But a lot of people, are just talking about how to create that for themselves and how they can create businesses so they can be remote and just have that freedom. I think it's amazing just what COVID did for that industry.
Yes.
It just let people know you can do things without being in an office all day. And anyway, I love that.
Yeah.
You describe yourself as a soulful rebel. How did that identity emerge in your personal and professional life?
I think it was always there, but I think definitely, like you said, COVID definitely invited people and invited myself to do things differently because even though I had a lot of flexibility prior to COVID, I have a job that travels, that allow me to get to know places and people in a very different way. I have never had a 9 to 5 job, but I felt like I was somehow committed and restricted in a way. So COVID let me have some time off. I took almost 2 years, which was the first time I had ever been at home for longer than 4 or 5 days here and there. And it started showing up. I was just started thinking, I'm like, well, I don't have to run like crazy, do the pickup, the drop off, and all of that. I'm like, I can do things differently. And that we did actually travel through COVID quite a bit actually within the restrictions that everyone had. Every country was different, so we did travel quite a bit. They weren't same experiences. Like we were in Mexico with my sister, you couldn't leave, or no, you could leave, you could go to the store, but like children were not welcome in any of the stores. You had to stay. You could not go with a child to the supermarket. We just navigated life the
Yeah.
way it was like thrown at us, but it really opened my mind to say like, things can look different. Like you don't
Mhm.
have to stick to this, like 9 to 5, never doing anything or just doing a vacation or a retreat once a year once you're at the point of burnout. And that was really I'm like, oh, I don't have to be in burnout mode in order to give myself this gift.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a gift for sure. And a lot of people, we live in burnout mode, especially moms, busy
Yeah.
moms. It's challenging to juggle everything that we're juggling, especially with the job, right?
Yeah, yeah, indeed. So, but I just lately it's just been about just noticing what is it that I need. If I'm able to meet my needs as a person, then I'm a much better parent. But different than my mom, I think, because she really wanted to do everything for us. Like, she wouldn't have a hot meal because she had to serve us. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So I talk to my kids, we have some boundaries and I've created some boundaries. It wasn't easy for me to do that, but I, slowly just been trialing and error. And the boys are really good about asking me why I need that. And then I answer and they're like, oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah. A hot meal. It reminds me, I had a salon and spa for 20 years. So I was behind the chair doing, hair, skin, and nails all day. And I didn't know what a hot meal was. It was crazy. It's just, you
Yeah.
just eat when you can eat. But my husband would like it because he doesn't like hot food. And I'm like, but I do.
Yeah,
So,
there are some people that don't like that don't really need it, and that's great. But like you say, I also do. I also need a quiet environment to eat. And if I can't have that, it doesn't feel like a good meal to me. So I have to have like a whole experience about my meals. So
oh
yeah.
my goodness. Well, we raised 8 kids. Quiet was not definitely a word in our house.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. Well, let's talk about a retreat experience. What
Yeah.
what does that look like for you?
For me, it's like I think it looks like something an addition to my life. Like an addition, not like you said. I was also similar, like where you reach a burnout a mode, and your body is just like enough is enough, and then you go and do that. But nowadays, since COVID, it looks more like an addition to my life. So it's like an expansion. So I call it the edge of expansion. That's what it is. That's what the word I was looking for. The edge of expansion, where you just have some more quiet time, there's more reflection happening, and there is a recharge of your batteries, but they're not completely drained. Like, think if your phone is like completely dead, like it takes more time to like charge up. But I'm think of like 50, I'm like, okay, I think I need something. So it
Mhm.
feels more like, yeah, more of an addition. Yeah, I guess that's the way I would describe it.
What are the key ingredients for a retreat that creates lasting transformation, not just a temporary escape?
Flexibility. And I think we talked a little bit about it, earlier before we got on the camera here on the recording, but it's about I cannot go, even though I have a lot of energy, I am not the one to be, getting up at 7 and having like a morning breakfast with everyone, then a hike and then this and that. I just cannot do that. And to me, sometimes when I look at the schedules or when I look at the information or when you get on the call with someone, it just feels like too much. Like every moment of the day has to be filled. And I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't necessarily need that. And I don't know where if that's a fear maybe on their end that in order for me to see their value, that's what they need to provide. But for me, it's not in the flexibility because one of my better friendships right now, it's all about understanding and not taking it personal. So it's not that I don't want to participate. It's just literally my energetics are not to function like that. I'm a very independent person, from a human design perspective. I've always been independent. So I always struggle trying to get into groups, and I'm not always a group person. And, so that understanding without turning it around like you should be part of this, it's a
yeah.
key thing that I look for when I am on the phone with someone, getting to know them, getting to know their story and how they came to develop this retreat, what they're offering. And it's like it's you. I think that's the first thing that I look at. If on the call I do not feel that flexibility stemming out from their aura, I
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
thank you, but this is not for me.
So what I'm hearing for retreat leaders listening to this show is that you need to be aware of what Julieta is saying here, because that's where I like on a website, this is for you if, this is not for you if, especially if you have a packed schedule, because you may have someone like Julieta who's not a morning person, and you're doing these, morning, whatever they could be, just meditations or yoga or whatever little thing, hike, like she said. And so I think it's being on both sides. That communication needs to be happening, but it's like being very intentional and clear on your schedule. And the other thing I'm hearing is the value in having your retreat outline in your marketing materials so that they get a see. It's not a secret, guys. You can find outlines of retreats everywhere. People are posting them. That's what they do. So don't think, oh, it's a secret sauce to my, business or my retreat and I can't share. I mean, come on. let's everything's shareable, put it out there. And I think that would have helped you probably decide before you even get on the phone with them. That would probably help you decide if they had more.
Is that you are absolutely like on point there, because then I get on the, like, I see the pamphlets or see the writings, and like you said, it sounds like it's a secret sauce, and I'm like, I just want to find out, like
What are they
either how,
hiding?
what they're hiding. Like, I just want to find out if it's for me or not, and I can make a decision. But I can tell you that I don't need to be lured into this, like, conversation where there's have you ever read, like, it's almost like a page of a description, but it actually says nothing?
Yeah. Like, yes, because in school when they make you regurgitate what it said, I'm like, the comprehension, no,
Yeah,
it's
and
like I
it's
had to get quick, just sound bites. Tell me,
yes,
tell me, tell
exactly.
me.
Just tell me everything. I'm
Yeah,
like, I love that what you said about this retreat is for you if this retreat is not for you if this. That is powerful. It is powerful for you and for me as a person. I don't want you to waste your time because I want you to be talking to the people that truly that's for them. And then me, I'm just going to move away. There are 8 billion people in this world. It's okay if we're not the ones to connect, but you have the power to connect with other people. But it does help me a lot. I really value that because I really value structure and efficiency.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
yeah.
And people value different things and that, and
Yes,
you do not have to do a retreat that's going to please everybody. That's
exactly.
okay. You
Because you
don't have to
can't.
do that.
Because even if you try to do it, honestly, I've seen it in different groups. I don't think you can, but I do think that also value in your energy, it's probably going to show and it's going to emanate from your own person into the people that are supporting that are coming to you for guidance, for wisdom. So I really value that. And I can pick up in that. If you're stressed, then I'm going to be stressed. And I do not like to be stressed. So that's not, yeah, it's just efficiency. But I am a very structured person. I always seek for a way to do it better. I
Yeah.
know not everyone is like me, and that's okay. There's a lot of people that are on the flow, and I love that for them.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. And that's what my human design work is so important to me because I just love
Yeah.
that so much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, and I think that, the other thing I would say to the retreat leaders listening is you also don't have to adapt to someone like Julieta. If that's not your
Correct.
style and flow, that's what I'm saying. Be clear about your marketing message because that's so important because you're like, oh, I'm just going to make it for everybody and I want everyone to come. No, you don't. You want
No.
to protect that space. And so I think just being clear on that whole thing, but not adapting because you had a conversation with someone. Oh, well, I've got to please them and I've got to please them. It's like you please who your person is and who you want to show up and they'll show up. Like, don't live in
Yes.
that fear.
That's such a great point that you make, though. I once listened to a podcast from a guy that he created. He was a dancer. He is a dancer and he has a dance company. And he created this so-called dance parties, right? And he decorated the scene, the space with, like, they call it Victorian trash. I think it's like very eclectic, like old couches, like, thrift stores, but a person with like a very unique taste, right? And he said that I am not you, I'm inviting you into my space. I am not going to change my mood and my aesthetics because you don't like it. If you don't like it, that's okay. But he was very clear about it,
Yeah.
that he was inviting people into his space. And I'm like, that one really shifted there a little bit because I'm like, he's like, I'm not going to please everyone. I am pleasing myself and creating something that I know has value for the people that resonate with it.
All
And
right.
I'm
People
like,
will show
okay,
up.
that is so true. So I really love that. Yes.
It reminds me, I know I've mentioned it on this podcast before. I had a mentor of mine who's now passed away, but he was the first time I had seen just very colorful events and he would do everything so different. As the first time I had heard the word gamification and how that, and I loved it because I modeled a lot of my live events after those things. I put my own flair on it, but he would rent like these purple and orange couches and
I
chairs.
love that.
You didn't go sit in like a like you'd be in a room, like the space was, maybe you could set that up like a conference, but he'd find fun rooms that were just a little bit outside the box. And he would bring in these couches and rugs. And I mean, it was just such a different feeling. And he had
Yes.
lighting, that he didn't have the big lights on, that they're the fluorescent lights that are in your eyes, in a conference. And it was just like this whole container. Everything he did was curated for that mood, for that energy. And I loved it. I was just like,
Yeah.
and so I always brought the gamification aspects into my live retreats when I, not retreats, sorry, live events. And did, even if I had a round table and we sat at a round table, I didn't rent furniture or anything for mine, but, I just always made sure we had activities and the color was
Yes.
there and the theme was there and the feel and, even smells matter, right? Smells
Yes.
really matter. And that's another thing, by
Smells
the way,
really matter.
retreat leaders need to be aware of, because there are so many allergies and things. And sometimes, we bring things for rooms and incense and whatever candles. And a lot of people can't handle
And
candles.
it doesn't always, yeah. I mean, if it's, I think if it makes you happy, because I find that when I am in a satisfied mood, when I'm happy and excited about something, that really stems out to some of the events that I have done in person,
Yeah.
and that really helps out. But if you're doing it for somebody else, and I think it's just extra work for you. Yes. And yeah, I think the more happy and satisfied you are, the better it's going to be for everyone else, because everyone else can pick up on that.
It's
So
true. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
so
and when
true.
you're, doing human design, it's such a great way to learn. Like for that, doing a retreat and knowing human design, if you can do that pre-work beforehand, you know what you're dealing with.
Yes, it is absolutely few. So the two retreats that I've attended, they weren't really human design directed, but I was already doing my work. So I knew when I connected with the person that was facilitating the retreat, I knew that we were on the same page. So it was like it to me, that was a long process too. I like to have deep relationships with people,
Yeah.
but I have the few retreats that I have considered, like the ones we talked about Egypt. Timing hasn't been great for me, but there
Right.
was one, all of them have been with a layer of human design. And that was really important to me, because he was someone that recognized that, again, I am not your person to be in every group. I am a person that needs time alone. And it's nothing personal. And I feel like in the past, when I needed time alone, people were making it personal, that there was something wrong with our relationship, or there was something wrong with them or with me, and they something that needed to be fixed. And nothing needed to be fixed. I just needed some space. I mean, it's different, but some people do need more connection with groups, because that's how they get the whole energy flowing.
Yeah.
So to know that, I find it to be very valuable. It has helped me in my life like no other. So I
Right.
love it. Yes.
What would you say, a flight attendant for 20 years? What's the biggest lesson that you learned about people and life?
To not take it personal first, and it's never about you, or like it was never about me. Whatever something is happening when you go to the airport, I learned early on in my career, I would be very upset about all things, and it took me a long time to realize that people, I was their last line of when people go on a trip, and by the time they get on the airplane, they have been through a lot.
Yeah.
So I learned that it wasn't personal to me, it was just the space and the time that they had to like finally explode, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes nothing, but it wasn't personal to me. And yeah, so nowadays I just do the best that I can with the most compassion that I
Mhm.
can for people, to support and hold their whole space for them. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's not personal. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think a retreat leader, that's a great advice for them too, that they're coming to a retreat for transformation, change, a break, so many different things, which is nice to identify before they get there, by the way. That's why pre-meeting people on Zooms is, I think, it should be a requirement, I think.
Yeah, I highly agree with that. I don't really commit, time or money to a place or an event that I have not met the person that is organizing them, though, because I think there's a lot of value. But again, I'm a person that also values deep relationships, so I would see that. But maybe some people don't. I don't know, but that definitely works for me. We would have to have conversations about it. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to do some rapid fire. These are just
Yes, let's do it.
first answer, top of mind, no wrong, right or wrong answer, just what comes to mind. Okay,
Okay,
ready?
let's do it. Yes.
Morning routine or night owl?
Morning routine. Yes.
Biggest fear you've overcome?
To not be loved.
One word that describes your parenting style?
Emotional.
Favorite city you've flown to?
Athens.
Unschooling myth that you wish everyone would drop?
It looks different for everyone. So it's not the same. Yes.
One book that changed your life?
The Midnight Library by Haig. I think that's how you say it.
Okay, and a guilty pleasure?
Coffee.
That's awesome. Okay, Julieta, we are going to put your information in the show notes so that if somebody's interested in getting their own human design, I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll be thrilled to chat with them about that. And so they'll be able to contact you there. Any last words for our listeners?
You are perfect as you are. There is nothing wrong with you.
I love
Just
it.
go be your best self. Go live your best life. Thank you
love
for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we're happy that you were here today. And hopefully our retreat leaders listening can grab a few tips that we put along there. And, you know, everything we say on here is just our opinion, but
It is.
I think
Yes.
opinions matter.
I think so too. But it is, I mean, yes, just do your best and enjoy your life, put in events for other people. People will notice that.
And I've lived a lot of life. So, you know, I do have a lot of opinion. I can tell you everything not to do.
I love it so
All
much.
right.
Though.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time on the show. Bye for now.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time.